Alright, this is Sudden Strike 3. This is the first mission of the German campaign. I have played Sudden Strike 1. I played the expansion for it. And I did not play Sudden Strike 2. Or maybe I started it and I was like, you know what, this is just like Sudden Strike 1. I never got into it. I play a lot of different games, so... But coming back years later, I rediscovered Sudden Strike and downloaded from good old gamers the Sudden Strike 3 and 4. And 3 is a lot like 1 and 2 in the sense you've got a lot of units. And the graphics are a lot better, though. So, in my opinion, out of all 4 of them, 3 is the best. 4 is actually a really, really good game as well, but it does not give you as many units to play with. And I like having lots of units. I like to micromanage my games. You're not going to see me doing cheesy tactics. Well, I'm not going to say that 100%. There are a few things, as you'll see, as the game progresses, that I do. Here's the map, okay? And what do all these lines mean? The blue is basically Maine, the Germans. And the Germans have 3 areas. This area up here, my mouse pointer is very, very tiny because I'm using 4K, whatever, resolution. And they start with scant forces here. And here is the bulk of their army. And there's a massive reinforcement area down here. So what needs to happen is we need to take all the guys out of here, put them onto this island, bring these guys down here, up to the island, and repel a huge counterattack by the Americans. When that is done, we are going to counterattack and take the factory. And then there's a trench line right over here. I'm really hating this mouse pointer. And we need to capture the depot afterwards. So let's take a look at the real map. And let's immediately pause it by pressing the pause button on your keyboard. As far as I know, you cannot reassign keys in Sudden Strike 3. I've tried looking and I did not find anything that did that. This is the normal mode. I think there's a beginner, a normal, and an expert mode. So I don't know if the units are different in easy or expert. But this is what you start with. This is a railgun. Now, we can assign units with our keys 1 through 0 on your keyboard. That way, when you want to quickly get an artillery, you just press a number. And you'll bring up your, like this railgun. We're going to hit the control button and hold it in, and then tap the 0 key. So now you see the little 0, it's next to its health bar. And anytime I hit the 0 key from now on, it will automatically queue up the railgun, and I can just aim and fire it. This right here is a squad of engineers. These guys are going to be important later in the game. And you want to highlight them by dragging and clicking. And then you can see you can hover over the truck and right click and they'll automatically go there when I unpause it. Now another thing you want to do is highlight everybody in these big groups and turn off their movement. Now go back to your fuel trucks and turn their movement back on. Actually unpause it and then repause it. And then highlight your fuel trucks. For some reason, the red X won't show up until you unpause and repause again. But we want to, if we have the fuel trucks AI off, they won't automatically refuel things. We want them to refuel stuff. So both these AA guns are half full. So let's just go ahead and make them refuel them. Now these 2 box trucks have crew members in them. Crew members are important because we're going to find abandoned equipment on the battlefield, and also we can lose crew members in our tanks and trucks just through combat. So like the Tiger tank has a complement of 5 crewmen. 2 get killed, you replace them with these guys. So we want to move them over to this bridge. And right about here is a good assembly area. I'll be assembling stuff right here and crossing the bridge a little at a time. If you try to just highlight everything and cross the bridge, some of this stuff will try going through the river and get stuck. So don't do that. But while I got them all highlighted, I might as well turn off their movements. Here is a platoon of infantry. 4 squads equals a platoon. Turn off their movements. Got a motorcycle and 2 hospital trucks. Turn off their movements. Over here we've got some mechanics and a platoon of tanks. Turn off their movements. We're going to leave the fuel trucks alone, because the fuel trucks are going to actually, these guys are all out of fuel, so we have to fill them up real quick. Let's get the Tiger tanks filled first. Actually, we'll do 1 Tiger, 1 Panther quickly. So these are the reinforcements that we need to bring up, if you look on the mini map, to this island here. Now these guys here, we want to hide a bunch of these guys in the buildings. We're going to turn off their AI fire, turn off their AI movement, and they're going to be like little spies. Now they will get discovered. Some will get discovered, some will stay there. I've had some stay there the whole game. And I've also lost them all. I played through this scenario 3 different times, and this is the tactic that worked the best for me, and that's why I'm making a video of it. We want to retreat as much of this stuff as we can out of here, though. The equipment, I should say. So, starting with these 3 guys, we're going to, well, all of them, we're going to turn off their movements. And then we're going to load the commander onto the motorcycle. These 2 guys, we're going to bring them to this field immediately. Now, there is going to be a bomber run. I guess some developer thought it would be funny to put a bomber run with no warning whatsoever that wipes out key units that you actually need to play the game. So I'm warning you in advance, because if you play through the game like I like to play the game from start, you're going to lose some really key units, and it's going to be a big waste of time. What you're probably going to lose is everything in this area, with the exception of the Tiger tank. So the half-tracks, the Puma, the supply truck, the Hetzer will probably all be gone if you don't move them right away. So speaking of which, let's highlight everybody here and turn off their movements. And let's just take a look at what we got here. We got a Hetzer. Now the Hetzer, eventually we're going to get them up on these hills here, because these hills are going to overlook. I'll show you that in a minute. But we're going to move everything into the center of this field and just point them all in the exact same spot. That way they get nice and close together, because I found the bombs will hit along this here and along here, but it doesn't injure anything in the center of the field too much. And these infantry too, we want to get out of the way, because they will die in their little trench. Now, the Tiger tank, I have never had a problem with him getting hit, so he's good there. The flamethrowers and this commander we're going to throw in there. These 2 AA guys are going to be good there too. Now over here, the bombs hit like in this area, so these infantry, they're all going to get they're going to get hit. So we're going to move them over to here as fast as possible. Oops, turn off their AIs, their movements. And we're going to move this half-track over here. These guys are good, but we are going to turn off their AIs. We're going to turn the delivery truck. His AI is going to be, let's unpause it, pause it again, and we're going to turn his back on. Now, this is your main artillery, the Nebelwerfers. So we got, let's turn off their movements. And we got these 2 commanders that we can run up to this hill area pretty safely. The planes won't attack this deep into the island. Only along the bridge, I guess, they attack. Now, these 2 box trucks cart these Nebelwerfers around. We will be using them later in the game. So we want to make sure they stay nice and safe. We're going to put them on the other side of the mound right there. This half track of infantry. Now, just because we shut off the movement of the half track, the infantry inside of it, their movements are still on. So don't forget, when you unload this stuff from the trucks, they're going to start running all over the place depending on the AI, the artificial intelligence. So make sure you turn the movements off if you're going to be playing like I do. I like to micromanage every single unit on the battlefield. Just like I'm playing army men when I was a little kid. My little plastic army men. So we're going to turn these AIs off. Turn the truck. Unpause. Pause it. Turn the truck back on. I don't like having loose infantry around because I forget about them. So we are going to move them to this trench line. And this officer and another rifleman will move up here with the other two officers that we're going to move from the Nebelwerfers. So I think we're good for the island for now. And we did all our reinforcements, right? Yep, they're... Well, we can cross some of these guys, actually. We're going to move these AT guns up for the attack. They're not even supplied. Alright, let's just get loaded up. They got half their ammunition complement, so let's just get them onto the half tracks and get them moved. This half track, we can go ahead and squeeze him over the road right now. Let's put a medic on this motorcycle, because we're probably going to need to put a medic somewhere quickly. From the bombing raid, it will probably nick a few people. These are two, they look like SS, right? But they're not. They're mechanics. Mechanics are very important, and we are going to be using Pumas and these tanks in primary roles. So we want the mechanics right about here for now, because the Pumas we're going to deploy to this area, and the tanks we're going to line up on this hill to overlook this ford. Now, let's go back to the crossing. We've already done these guys. These guys here. Turn their movement off. And we'll get them to there. Now, these guys here, you also want to turn their fire off too. So movement and fire off, because they will stop to fire at pursuing Americans that are going to be appearing at the edge of the screen very quickly here in this area here. And we don't want them to stop. We want them to go, because we don't want to lose them. Now, we've got a valuable piece of equipment here. It's an AA gun, 88. And we have two choices. We can leave the crew on it, and the crew will get a few kills with it, but then it's going to get knocked out and possibly destroyed. Or we can abandon it and recapture it later, and that's what I want to do. Now, unfortunately, when you take crews off of guns, you can't just right-click on these soldiers like I'm doing right now. See how they all disappeared? And they're all supposed to hop off the gun. But what's going to happen is one's going to hop off and the other two are going to jump back on, because you got to do it one at a time for the guns. I don't know why the houses and the half tracks and the tanks, they've got a special button. When you hit the unload button, they just automatically rifle off out of the building or off the tank. But for the guns, you got to do it this way. So unpause it, wait for the first guy to jump off, move him over, turn off his movement, of course, and then click on the gun again, unpause it, there's your second guy, click on the gun again. Alright, that's how you get all three guys off the gun, I think. Well, this guy's still back on there. Alright, there we go. Now, we don't want to waste too many seconds with these unpauses either, because the Americans are coming. They're coming right down this road right now, and we need to get some of these guys out of here. Alright, so this guy we're going to load. We're going to turn off their movements first of all, and And we're going to load him right on the motorcycle. The Puma, we need to turn off his movement and his fire. And we are just going to put him way over where we need him. So we can just forget about him and hope he makes it there. Let's see. We're going to do the pause thing on this machine gun too, because there's no, we can see if we can save those two guys, which I have before. And we can use them as spies in the buildings. And let's see. This officer, actually, let's turn off all their movements. And fire too. Turn off all their fires for these guys, because we just want to move these guys. We're going to put the officer in the tower. For some reason he stays alive for a long time there. We're going to put this guy in this little bunker. Looks like a snack stand. And then move this guy over to there. He's going to jump in one of those buildings eventually. This motorcycle, he's pretty useless. We're just going to put him all the way down to the field. This Puma, all the way over here. So we got those three guys moving. Did that Puma. He's waiting to be loaded up. Over here, we got these three guys, which we need to move them into the town over here and scatter them into the buildings with their AIs off. This officer, we're going to load him up on the motorcycle and just get him the hell out of there. And here's another crew member we need to get off the machine gun. Now, this AA, we're going to turn off his AI and move him all the way to the field here. So hopefully he'll make it. This officer on the motorcycle. This submachine gunner we're going to try to put in this factory building. This machine gunner, there's going to be paratroopers. Here's another stupid thing the developer did. Paratroopers are going to land in the middle of the factory. There's no way paratroopers could do this, but in this game they do it. And it's another one of those things to just look at that. We wiped out a bunch of your units for no reason. So this guy actually kills quite a few of them. So we're going to move him. For some reason, when you move a placed machine gun like this, see that tripod there, or the anti-tank guns, if you click this, if you click on them, sorry, what am I doing? If you click on them and then click the move button, and then click way over, like way over here, they won't move all the way over there. You have to do short distances. I don't know what the radius is, but it's about like this. So you've got to keep them really, really short, and they will move. If you try to go past that, they'll just stay there and won't do anything. So we're going to click him. Now these boxes, they actually correspond with your keyboard. So this would be the Q key. This would be the A key. A is an apple. And this would be the Z zebra key. And then across. So if we went up to the Q key again, this next one would be W, this would be E, and this would be S. Or R, what am I talking about? So just get used to using that block of keys on your keyboard. I always keep my fingers right on that whole block because I just use them constantly throughout the game. So we're going to hit the Q button for movement, and we're going to try to move the machine gunner there. Who else do we have to take care of? I don't think anybody. I think we did everybody. But these guys are going to load up on the motorcycle, so we want to get right back to them. So let's unpause it. And that should be enough time for the motorcycle loading. Yep. So we're going to get this officer the hell out of there. Turn off his fire. Is this Puma's fire off? Yep. And let's get him right here. here's another officer on a motorcycle. The officers have better vision, so it's good to try to save them. Now, this officer did not load up on his motorcycle like I wanted him to. That's why we double check things. Now, another thing I want to do too is this box truck we loaded the engineers. The engineers can also lay mines. So we want to get them next to the Fords. What's going to happen? We're going to retreat. Let's look at the mini map. We're going to retreat everybody out of here. And most of what I retreat out of here, I'm going to put over in this area here. And then we're going to bring our reinforced tanks and stuff and put them on this hill here. And then we're going to have like a kind of a skirmish line right here. And the Americans, we're going to blow up this bridge after we get everybody across. The Americans are going to pour out of this way, and they're going to go for this ford here. And there's a ford over here too. So that's where we want to set up our fields of fire for our killing zones. All right. So the engineers, they can lay mines. And we want to try to get them up to the front. But sometimes they're not quick enough. So we're going to move them right to there. And we'll check back later to see if they make it. Now, we got some snipers. They are going to move. They're going to run all the way to this hill here. They are going to be used later in the game. Tanks are being filled. Half-tracks are loading up the anti-tank guns. We've got another artillery unit, a bombard here. And we're going to control 9. He is going to be number 9. And then my Nebelwerfers are going to be number 8. I pair them together. Where are my Nebelwerfers? There they are. So close the box around them. Hit control. Hit the number 8. So now artillery is all keyed up for 890 keys, right? Right. Now what we want to do is we want to move, using our supply trucks, we want to move this ammo next to the Nebelwerfers. Or we can move the Nebelwerfers next to the ammo. That's probably the better thing to do, actually. I don't know if these guys... Can these guys push a Nebelwerfer? Let's see. Yep. Alright, so they're going to move the Nebelwerfers. Got to get this guy off the machine gun. And we're going to run him over to these houses here. Got to get this guy off the machine gun.
Okay.
And we're going to move him over to here. This motorcycle can take off.
Ja, bin bereit. Verstanden.
Uh-oh. I forgot to get those guys off. I hear gunfire. Oh, I forgot to get those guys off. Oh, they're dead. Really blew up a Jeep, though. Alright, here come the bombers. Now, I'm always paranoid that I forgot to do something, so that's why I keep going back and forth. Now, where's my guy that was supposed to go in here? There he is. Well, maybe I'll put him in the watchtower instead. There we go. In the watchtower. Okay, these are the paratroopers, actually. Here's the bombers. These motorcycles might bite the dust. Yep, one of them bit the dust. All right, let's see. So that's going to be it for the bombing for now. There will be bombing later from P-51s, and they like to attack this area here. So that is my... Oh, what did I lose here? Another motorcycle? Damn. All right. It is what it is. Can't be perfect every game. But I've got reasonable amount of troops. Make sure these guys are in the buildings. Now that we can see these buildings, we can click on them. These guys, we can just run right over to where we want them to defend the ford. Now these commanders, we're going to want to occupy these buildings. And what we're going to do with these buildings is we're going to make some are observation buildings and some are going to be fire points where we're going to have people in there actually firing their weapons. And we want to separate the two because the ones that are firing their weapons are going to become targets. And we don't want our guys that are spotting to be hit. So let's put the AA guns in these fields here for the P-51s when they come over. Make sure the Pumas are going where they're supposed to go. Now, let's micromanage these guys. Oh, do we have our Nebelwerfers where we want them? Right next to the ammo. Yep. Now, we don't have much time. We got to get the Nebelwerfers set up, and we need to destroy this bridge. Now, this Tiger tank. We got a bunch of stuff we got to micromanage. But that is good for the first video. And the second video we will deploy these reinforcements to come up and reinforce the main island, and I'll show you how I set up the defense. And what's going to happen is we're going to repel the we're going to blow up the bridge. They're going to try crossing massively here. And about a third are going to come over here. But I might be able to get some visuals of the ones that come over here will cross this field because of my spotters, and we're going to get some Nebelwerfers and some artillery shots on some of this stuff. So we want to take out as many units as possible, anything we see. So the factory is going to come much later in the game when we retake it from these paratroopers, and they're going to have some armor in there by then. But we're going to hope some of our scouts, our little spies that we're setting up, manage to stay alive. So that'll be part 2.